kababayan presents a new segment, Usapang Tsinoy. A weekly slice of Chinoy life, addressing issues and concern of our Chinoy countrymen towards a better understanding and appreciation for a progressive nation. Join in the Usapang Tsinoy with Miss Rivera-Acosta and CHARLEMAGNE LIM.
Taike ho, gua si CHARLEMAGNE LIM, lanang niya, ting piak din, sile pai pai go, kau get sa po, po sa tiam, DWIZ, pwe di Usapang Tsinoy, gunbe kang lanang ti Filipino taitsi. To siya taike.
Alright, mapagpalang hapon po sa ating mga tagapakinig. Welcome po sa ating programang Usapang Tsinoy at tayo po'y nadinig sa iba't pang panig ng mundo. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening at sa case may be. Lalo na po sa gitnang silangan, malakas na malakas po tayo dyan sa Jeddah, sa Riyadh, KSA at yun po sa Estados Unidos, sa East Coast, sa West Coast. Naku, gabi na dyan pero nakikinig pa rin po sa ating, ang ating mga kababayang OFWs or migrant workers na tinatawag. At syempre sa ASEAN countries, dito po sa Down Under, sa Australia, dito po sa Japan, sa Hong Kong, Malaysia, malakas din po tayo dyan, Vietnam, Myanmar, at yun na rin, syempre sa iba-ibang panig ng ating kapuluan, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, syempre po sa ating mga kapatiran Muslim, Assalamu alaikum. Ako hindi ko na patatagalin pa kung siya ay nasa kabilang linya natin ng via Zoom, tayo po ay pinagpapala at makakapanayam natin ang napaka-brilliant matatawag natin in her own time, in her sweet time, at hanggang ngayon ay talaga namang kailangan ng kanyang dunong at talino, no? Dahil we need her, ika nga, ano? But to give you a little bit background or who she is, siya po ay at the age of 18, ang ating pong panauhin was appointed assistant to the president of the Mariwasa Group of Companies. From 1970 to 1981, she was a curator and proprietress of her own art gallery, Gallery Dominique. 1982 po, team manager siya ng Mariwasa PBA basketball team. She served as PBA as vice president at treasurer in 1983. From street parliamentarian to activist, she rose to serve as congresswoman, distrito ko to, of the 3rd District of Quezon City. At binoto ko siya from 1987 to 1992. And then later on, she served for 9 years, napakatagal na panahon, as senator. And did you know, she holds the record for being the first female Phil-Chinese senator. So tingnan natin, naandyan na ba siya? Hello po. Welcome muna natin, CHARLEMAGNE, ang ating co-host. Bumati ka muna. Go ahead. Hi, CHARLEMAGNE. Hi, CHARLEMAGNE. Bumati ka muna sa inyong native tongue. Go ahead. I-unmute mo yung audio mo. Ano? Ako, narinig ba ako?
Hi. Hello, CHARLEMAGNE. Hello, Lolly. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Siyempre po, nasa kabilang linya na via Zoom, no less than. Ang ganda ng introductions po sa inyo, Senator. Kayo po ay talagang inaabangan na ng lahat. No less than the former Senator Dominique, Nikki Coseteng. Welcome po sa ating programang Usapang Tsinoy with CHARLEMAGNE LIM. Hello po.
Thank you. Hello, Lolly. And hello, CHARLEMAGNE. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Ayan. Nakita mo naman. CHARLEMAGNE, hello. Bumati ka na sa iyo native tongue.
Hello, sorry. Ngayon lang ako nakapasok na hindi ko narinig.
Right.
Hello, Ampo, Senator Nikki.
Afternoon ho, Ampo.
Ampo. Ayun. Ano pong ibig sabihin yan? Hello.
Can you hear me? Because I can hardly hear you. Is it clear?
Yeah, you're very clear, Senator Nikki. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Kanina wala. Kanina wala. Right now, I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. Congratulations on your show.
Thank you. That's technology. Kasama yan, part of our journey. Okay, go ahead and shoot the first question. Napakahaba ng ating gustong tanong sa kanya, no? But don't worry, kayo pong nakikinig sa iba't pang panig ng mundo, hindi lang po itong first time. Magiging regular na natin sa Senator Nikki para naman ma-pick up natin yung brains niya. Napakatalino po ng ating panauhin. So we want to really have her in our Usapang Chinoy. But go ahead with the first question, Charlemagne.
Ako, no, ang first question ko, no, Senator Nikki, no, kasi before you became a politician, no, you were a successful businesswoman eh. So bakit from being a successful businesswoman, bakit mo naisipan na maging politician?
I think it was an offshoot of the Aquino assassination, to be very frank with you. No? After the Aquino assassination, I was very much involved in the Parliament of the Streets, as they called it. And I think working with the different multisectoral groups, also tapping the women's organizations, and I would say like friends of the family, friends of my parents, the Filipino-Chinese businessmen, and you know, from different provinces, maybe friends and connections, etc. All of these groups were mobilized, and I just have a debt of gratitude to all of them for creating the Nikki Coseteng that eventually came to be. So it wasn't because of business, I guess. I wasn't too much involved in business. I was very young then, and maybe had other priorities, etc. So I'd say it's really the experience of getting to know what real life was like in the streets. And if you recall, at that time, there was no internet, there was no Facebook. You were just left to your own devices. And there was, you know, a very controlled environment at that time as a consequence of the declaration of martial law.
So ang hirap pala, no, Senator Nikki, where you're saying na walang internet, technology. So how do you like really interact dito sa mga constituents mo? Kasi binoto kita, third district ako natin that time.
I think we had closer face-to-face, if you call it today, no, face-to-face. We used to call it person-to-person. But now it's more known as face-to-face. So I think, you know, that was something that's valuable at that time because there was no internet. Everybody had to listen to you. You had to seek out the audience. You had to go to the barangays. You had to go to the public fora. Different from today. Today it's very impersonal. You don't even have to know what the candidate stands for. You don't even know, you know, anything about the candidate. It's just 30 seconds. What can you know of anybody in 30 seconds, you know, as a time frame? It's different.
So short. Today. Yeah, so short a period of time. Ano, ang hirap mo siyang i-discern kung nagsasabi ng totoo o hindi. But in your time, talagang panalo kasi nandyan ka eh. You were there and you were like interacting, you were making kwento, your life, the story of your life na nalalaman namin. Ang sarap dahil nakikilala ka na namin. So for now, talagang ang hirap pala, no? Naiiba kasi malayo.
Also, you have to invest yourself in yourself.
Yes, sir.
You have to invest in getting to closer to people. You have to reach out. You cannot stay, you know, in the comfort of your home. It can be raining, it can be muddy, it can be you know, hot, humid, but you have to bring yourself to be close to the people. It was different then.
Right. So challenging pala rin talaga, no? You were running your own gallery kasi gusto namin i-zero in, ano, para yung mga ibang nakikinig sa atin. After the Senate, what's next for Miss Nikki Coseteng? But not many people know that somehow 11 years your own gallery Dominique. And your brilliant mind and your eye for beauty, so to speak. Paano yan nahasa, Senator? How were you able to develop that eye for beauty?
I think 90%, if not 90%, if not 99%, was because of my mother. My mother was an art collector. My grandparents on my mother's side, they were also like, they appreciated the finer things in life. My family on my father's side as well. You know, we didn't live a very ostentatious life. It was very simple, but I think it was tasteful and maganda yung pagpalaki sa amin dahil nakilala namin kung ano ang maganda sa kalikasan, sa sining, sa araw-araw na pamumuhay. We got to appreciate many things that people take for granted. And I think that's a plus factor. It's upbringing. It's the environment that you were brought up in that would eventually determine the kind of decisions that you make, the preferences, you know, and basically your level of maybe tolerance, your level of appreciation of many things.
But you graduated and attended the Notre Dame College of California and then on to the University of the Philippines and then as, preschool to St. Paul, Maryknoll College and then St. Maur, I don't know how to pronounce it, St. Maur's Convent in England. So how were you, like, ikaw, Charlemagne, kasi Chinese din po, Chinoy si Charlemagne. How were you like brought up and raised up as Chinoy? Go ahead.
Ako kasi lumaki ako sa Minondo eh. So ang grandparents ko at saka papa ko galing China. So very typical Chinese ang pagkalaki sa amin. So ang kausap ko sa lola ko, it's Hokkien. Hindi siya marunong mag-Tagalog. So no choice kami kung hindi magsalita kami Hokkien. So I always tell people, ang Tagalog ko, English ko, at saka yung Chinese ko, yung Hokkien ko, super equal. As in, kunyari po, kami mag-usap tayo mag-Tagalog. Biglang kausap ko yung foreigner, English, kausap ko mama ko, or kahit siya Chinese, sobrang equal. Diba? Actually, I was so surprised, no, Senator Nikki, I'm not sure kung maalala mo, kasi you were always eating in our restaurant in Little Asia. Naalala pa kita.
Yes. In Morato?
Yes.
Morato. Tomas Morato.
The corner. That was the corner.
Yes.
Oh, that's your restaurant. Oh, how nice.
Yes. You were our regular customer, no? That was our restaurant from year 2001 hanggang 2014. So ngayon, yung 2015, Senator Nikki, we closed it down. Ginawa na namin siyang Bistro Charlemagne, our new concept. So I remember, you were always eating in a restaurant. Nasa left side ka ng sofa namin sa second floor. Tapos, sinaserve ka ng waiter. Siyempre, sinasabi ko, tutukan niya na VIP yan si Senator Nikki. Siyempre, nakatuto kami talaga sa'yo. And I remember, before, I was so shocked, no? Sinasabi ko ito palagi sa friends ko. Even until now, nasa shock sila when I tell them, sabi ko, uy, ano ba si Senator Nikki? Marunong mag-Hokkien? Sabi lahat ng mga Chinese friends ko nagugulat. Sabi ko, paano mo naman? Sabi ko, kinausap ako sa Little Asia, nag-Hokkien kami. I was actually surprised.
Well, she's the first Filipino. First Filipino senator.
We grew up practically in the same environment. I spoke to my grandparents in Hokkien.
Yeah.
It was only because, we were educated in a non-Chinese school. I went to say, because we transferred it. We were from Balut Island, Tondo, Manila. Not far from Binondo.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, my grandfather was one of the two founders of Equitable Bank.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The office of my grandfather was in Juan Luna. No?
Sure.
And every day I would visit him up and bring him there. So we grew up in Balut Island, Tondo, Manila. And we left the place only because they were gonna put Smoky Mountain at the back of our place. Doon ilalagay yung Smoky Mountain.
Basura.
Kaya talagang umalis na kami.
Unhealthy.
City, no? In New Manila. So, nung lumipat kami, ang pinakamalapit na eskwelahan, yung St. Paul's College. So I went there. After a few years, we transferred to La Vista in Quezon City also. And the school nearest our house was Maryknoll College.
Maryknoll.
I completed my grade school there. After that, I left for abroad. I went to a boarding school for first year high school. I was all by myself. In the beginning, I didn't like it. But, come to think of it today, as I look back, I'm glad I went. I'm glad they left me. I'm glad they just put me out and sent me there on my own. And left to my own devices to survive, you know. And
Yeah,
it was
to
fun.
figure
I
it
mean,
out.
now looking back, I said, yeah, that was a fantastic experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
For anything
Of course,
else.
I missed all my classmates. I missed all my friends. I was busy writing letters all the time. But I think people or kids need to know that they should be able to survive without their parents.
Yes.
What about your children? Yeah, like si ano kasi konsehal natin si your son.
Julian.
Were you able? Yeah, Julian. So did you
Julian,
also like
Julian was a counselor, but now it's his wife, Kate.
Okay.
Talang Coseteng,
Okay.
Kate Coseteng.
So how did you raise them up? Like ganun din? You like let them go and set them free
Put it this
to
way,
figure it out?
They had to do a lot of figuring out themselves because I was not there all the time.
All the time.
Remember, I was in
9
politics
years eh.
in 1987. In 1983, that was the assassination of
Senator.
Ninoy Aquino. So from that time on, I was really out in the streets, you know, in the protest movement.
Activists. Yeah.
So they were really left home alone, and they had to survive. And maybe it's better that way because they become tougher creatures. They become tougher, and they have to
Stronger.
adjust, and maybe not become so clingy.
Dependent. Dependent.
And I also, at that time, since I was a single parent, I also wanted them to be independent because the freer they are or the more responsible and independent they are, the sooner I gain my freedom. You can just imagine, I have friends who up to the age of 50 are still taking care of their kids.
Yeah.
Now they're able to, I mean, if I got hit by lightning at any time, they'd be okay. They'd be on their own.
They can take care of themselves,
Yeah.
right?
And that's precisely what it is. You know, I mean, nobody can be sure about when one's life will end. Hindi naman natin alam kung kailan tayo mawawala sa mundo ito. Di ba?
Exactly, right. I
Importante,
agree.
nakahanda sila. Dahil kung hindi sila nakahanda, kawawa sila. Sobrang kawawa.
Prepared. So you prepared them. Charlemagne, go ahead.
Yeah, sabi ko, Senator Nikki, if you get hit by lightning, baka mas dumanda ka lalo. Kasi sobrang very impressed. Baka natin, Lolly. Baka ang listeners natin mas interested sa mga beauty regimen ni Senator Nikki kasi sobrang ganda eh. Sobrang ganda.
At saka, she didn't...
I'm so impressed.
Yeah, she didn't age.
Kasi,
From time na nagbuto ko siya, yan pa rin itsura niya. Anong secret?
You know, Senator Nikki, in Little Asia, when you spoke with me in Chinese, tapos you even told me, no, can you campaign for me? Tapos tumawa ako. Tapos sinabi mo sa akin, no, I'm serious. Akala ko nag-joke ka lang noon. Sabi mo sa akin, will you? Sabi ko, yes, I will.
Yes.
So yeah, tapos yan, sabi ko sa mga friends ko, I told our staff, ganon. Tapos yun nga, just want to let you know, nasa 2021 na tayo ngayon. Even I told my friends yesterday, whenever I would tell them, alam mo ba, si Senator Nikki fluent in Chinese, they always get shocked. They always get shocked.
Really?
Maraming ko sa alam.
My one main regret is that I didn't go to a Chinese school and I did not learn Mandarin. I cannot speak Mandarin. Mandarin is to me alien, you know, and that's my regret because today, and not only today, but in the next, especially in the next 5 to 10 years, it's really going to be a genuine asset to learn to communicate Chinese in Mandarin because more than half the world will be communicating in Mandarin.
Exactly. I know.
Senator Nikki, no regrets. Oh my God, you are so accomplished. Kasi, you know, it's so rare for a woman na accomplished businesswoman. Tapos, isipin mo pati you went to UP, education attainment mo, you studied in the States.
England.
You studied in England. Sabi ko, oh my God, tapos you look so beautiful. Parang, that is so rare. Parang iniisip ko nga, sabi ko, grabe, dapat ikaw yung talagang model na female senator or female politician. That's what our politicians should be. Hindi yung mga, I don't want to offend people, pero I'm so against yung popularity eh. You know, yung mga sumisikat, yung politicians or what, it's because celebrity. I am so against that. Ayoko lang, sana walang magalit sa akin na politicians dito, but I am so against that talaga. Parang, alam mo yun, parang yun lang yung opinion ko.
But Charlemagne, don't be so against that, because it's really
that's not
to be popular. It's just what do you call this? Maybe a revisiting whatever values are close to us or are dear to us. Maybe hindi naman masama yung maging popular o maging artista. Marangal naman nahanap buhay yan. It's a career choice. It's a career option that they chose, di ba? At ang importante lang, yung alam natin siguro kung saan nagsisimula yung tama at mali. It's not popularity. I think it's an asset. I think it's a great asset for the superstars, you know, to be known to everybody and to be a household word, for their names to be household words.
Yeah, Charlemagne, she wears a lot of hats. Alam mo, nag-TV show din siya. And then nag-movie pa rin. And she's the first Filipino Chinese, female Chinese to become a senator. Kahit di siya nagmamandarin. She's that. But moving on, Senator Nikki, ano po, the business, syempre, we want to know paano ito, no? Itong kaftan business. Jello, if you're ready for our clip. Kasi talagang, you're known, pag sinabing Senator Nikki, the kaftan. And the lahat ng klaseng creation ng kaftan. So if we can show that to our screen,
actually, this is a product of pandemic lockdown creativity.
Exactly.
You know, I was a very outgoing person. I was out of the house most of the time. And to be locked up for no reason at all, not no reason at all, but to be locked up because of something you can't even see, you can't even fight, you can't even... You're helpless, you know, against this. It gave me an opportunity to look at the stuff that I've accumulated. Ano ba yung mga nakatambak dito na hindi naman gumagalaw? Binili ko yan dahil it was part of a collection. I used to collect. I collect fabrics, textiles, you know, from all over Southeast Asia, from India, from China, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, you know, like that, everywhere, India. And I really was so amazed at the kind of work that women put into it. Hindi basta-basta yan, yung bara-bara gawa. Talagang pinag-iisipan nila yan. Very well handcrafted.
Weaved and handcrafted.
Unbelievable. The work that women put into these fabrics. And I think these efforts are hardly appreciated. We always look at tela, gusto natin yung mura. Basta mura lang, kahit paano mura. Hindi. Halos 6 na buwan nila pinaghirapan yan, hindi mura yan, di ba?
Exactly.
But there are also those who can sell at lower prices. But it's always just one of a kind, you know. So there's great appreciation for me as far as I'm concerned for those things. So I started doing that, and I linked up with dressmakers who used to sew for me, and because the pandemic, you're not going anywhere, but I think you have to treat yourself to something nice. You have to feel good, even at home. Imagine, so, and I found out there are many like-minded women and men who give them to women as gifts. And I'm happy I started it. I know nothing about dressmaking. I know nothing about sewing and this as a craft. But I think these fabrics speak for themselves. Their prints are nice. The process of creating them are very nice. Maganda yung tela, maganda yung trabaho. And as far as I'm concerned, it's good. It's a good hobby. It's something to keep yourself busy in this pandemic. It gives you the wherewithal to be able to help others as well.
Yeah, job generation. At least yung mga mananahin may sweldo.
And people who ask for help, then you are also able to help others in your own small way. You know, I mean, there's no...
Tuloy-tuloy naman pagtulong mo eh. Hindi ka naman nag-stop, di ba, Senator Nikki? Anybody who wants to seek your help, nandiyan ka
hanggat makakaya ko. I'm not just saying anything and everything, but hanggang kaya ko.
Yeah, but at least kaya pa. Okay, let's touch a bit very quickly, Charlemagne, about the Asian hate. Asian hate happening in America that we see in the news right now. What are your thoughts on this, Senator Nikki?
I think it's a very sad situation. It talks about what kind of people we are. I'm happy to have been brought up in a liberal family. And it's a very broad-minded understanding of what this world is all about. And this world is not single colors, of single colors. It would be boring, right? If everything were red or everything were blue.
Black or blue.
It's very boring. So we're all different. And I think that makes for the excitement, that makes for the interest in diversity, you know. The thing about Asian hate is I think it's perpetrated by people who also hate themselves. They have very low regard for themselves, so they have also low regard for others. You know, I think that's the way it starts. Because they think very lowly of themselves, or because they are lowly to begin with, low grade to begin with, so they tend to see others in a different way. It's not only in America. Maybe it was accentuated and highlighted because they had a president like Mr. Trump, who, to me, is really, really low grade. Say that. But I hope they get over it soon. Why? If Americans could rely on the white people who started this Asian hate business, then you will not find Chinese, Filipinos, and Indians in Silicon Valley.
Sure.
Silicon Valley, you need to be the highest of the highest sorts of people in terms of intellectual maturity, in terms of capability, in terms of emotional strength and tenacity. You have to be a high-grade sort of human being to be in that sort of world. And I tell you, in the areas around Silicon Valley, in Silicon Valley, you will find that there's so many Asians. The Chinese, the Filipinos, the Indians, and the Vietnamese, everybody's there, you know? And so that is already a testament. That is a fact.
That's very powerful testament.
Because there are no white people working in the Silicon Valley, in the Huawei in China. There's not that many white people there. The number of Chinese or Indians and Filipinos and other races, you know, in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
So, you know, this is something that they have to wake up to. That this is not a supremacy issue. It is a working together issue and tapping the best talents for the greatest results.
Exactly.
And we are also guilty of that here in this country. It's sad.
How so?
Very
How
sad.
so? Why?
Well, we look down on certain races. We look down and we have certain stereotypes that has been built into our minds, perhaps by our parents, previous generation. No child is born hating somebody. In the same way, no child is born looking for certain kinds of food.
Right.
No one is born wanting to eat spicy food. No one is born looking for picking, you know, for example. So this is something that you learn
Diversity.
over time. It's in your environment. If that's all you hear in your family, if that's how your family thinks, chances are that's how you're going to think.
That's how you're going to
And it's sad because if we look at the Chinese very lowly, for example, these are the pogo people, they smoke a lot, they drink a lot, they're loud, they you know, have these karaoke bars that are going on all night, etc., etc., etc. Okay?
Okay.
My personal appreciation of race is that there's no one race that is all perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
There, walang hiyang Filipino, walang hiyang Germans, walang hiyang Japanese, walang hiyang Amerikano, walang hiyang Chinese, kung walang hiyang hahanapin mo, lahat ng klaseng rasa may walang yan. Diba?
Right.
If you just try to remember, I remember very clearly.
Okay.
Whenever I go to Hong Kong and I'm there on a weekend before, I don't know now. I've not been to Hong Kong in maybe, I don't know, 10 I don't know, a long time. But when you walk around the parks on a Saturday or Sunday, see the Filipinos, you know, on the ground, either doing manicure or
day off nila Sunday.
Frying banana Q, etc., etc. If you were a foreigner, not Filipino, but if you were a foreigner, a non-Filipino, let's put it that way, seeing Filipinos doing those things in the middle of a park in Hong Kong, Oops.
Okay, we have to pause for a quick break, station break, as Senator Nikki, but you'll have to rejoin in a while, okay? But rejoin after mga 3:35. May akul pa. All right. Philippine Standard Time is 3:31 in the afternoon.
Usapang Chinoy with Miss Lolly-Acosta and Charlemagne Lim.
Right, nagbabalik pong muli ang ating programang Usapang Chinoy dito sa Sulong na Bayan. At syempre, kapiling pa rin po natin via Zoom ang ating Honorable Senator Nikki Coseteng. At kanina, before the break, at syempre, Charlemagne, are you all there? Before the break, we were asking her, go ahead. Ayan. Gusto natin.
Wala akong nakikitang Wala akong nakikita niyo ba ako? Ayun.
That's okay.
Ayun.
There, I see you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Senator, before the break, we were asking you the difference noong araw na senador kayo at ngayong senator na itong mga senator natin. Because of high technology nga, nagkagulo-gulo or somehow hindi malinaw ang interaction, hindi kulang. So, can you at least differentiate pa ano pa yung parang challenges na matatawag?
Actually, before the break, we were talking about Asian hate. I just wanted
Asian hate pa rin. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was telling you that when you see the Filipinas in Hong Kong, manicure, etc., cooking banana
barbecue, banana cue.
The impression of the foreigners, anong klase yung mga tao na yan? Ba't ganyan sila? Bakit sila nandyan sa park? Ba't dyan sila, nagmamanicure, nagkaalat sila dyan, di ba? Ang sama ng tingin nila, di ba? Hindi nila nakikita na yung mga yon naghahanap buhay yon kasi mga anak nila, pinaaral nila, yung mga bahay nila, nabibili nila, yung kanilang mga may sakit na mga magulang na papagamot nila dahil sa nandun sila nagtatrabaho, di ba? So, in the same way, the people who otherwise would have a better life will not choose to go there.
Sure.
At pumunta sila dyan dahil either napilitan sila, maybe they're victims of a very violent household or something, or maybe they need a financial independence, so they have to earn money elsewhere. No, same case with the Chinese. It's just that there are only 100 million Filipinos, and that 1 million of them are already in Hong Kong. Another 1 or 2 million in Saudi, diba?
Exactly.
But in China, there are 1.5 billion of them. So, who are those who are going to come here and live 10 in a house or 10 in a room? Sino-sino ang galing doon na willing pumunta rito at tumira ng ganyang klaseng mabuhay ng ganyang klaseng uri na pamumuhay, di ba? Hindi yan yung mga bumibili ng Louis Vuitton. Hindi yan yung mga bumibili ng mga Italian designer clothes. Hindi yan, di ba? So, yung mga yon baka na doon pa sa China pa rin. Or baka nasa Amerika, nasa Singapore, nasa kung saan-saan. Pero, we have to understand that the person you see is not reflective of that entire culture.
Yeah, doesn't define the entire culture.
No, that does not tell you what that entire culture is about. So this Asian hate is really also an offshoot of total, complete ignorance. Ignorance of a 17,000-year culture. Di ba?
Right.
So, ang nakikita nila, kahit na walang kasalanan, nandun lang sa tabi, nagtitinda ng bulaklak or whatever, sama ng tingin nila eh. Bakit? Kasi, ang tingin nila sa sarili nila, bulok din.
Right.
So, this is, I think, the offshoot of the Asian hate. No? So, I just wanted to finish off that point. When you see somebody from another country, that is not the representative of that entire country.
The entire country, exactly. I agree.
It's your ignorance that's creating that hate or that non-understanding or non-tolerance of that other race. Whatever race it is. It can be Asian, it can be something else.
Yes. Yeah. That's again
going
biblical.
Back to your next question.
No, biblical kasi yan, Senator Nikki For my people perish for lack of knowledge. Ayan, kulang ka sa kaalaman, ignorante ka, and then that's how you regard people lower than what you think, which is not supposedly. Bibigyan kita ng isang guest, nandiyan na sa kabilang linya, Senator Nikki. Naging kasama mo ang kanyang husband 1 month or so in your tour sa Europe when he was covering the Senate. Siya po ang photographer nyo for the longest time. Lizzie Lasso, our colleague in the press. Welcome sa ating programa. Go ahead, Lizzie.
Hi.
Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi,
It's Ray. I can see Ray. That's Ray.
Here is Ray.
Hi. Oy, Ray, kumusta na?
Taraw.
Yeah.
Photographer. Everywhere we went in the Senate, Ray, nakikita kita kahit medyo malabo-malabo. Hindi ko lang na ano yung Lizzie, pero pagdating ng Lazo, sabi ko, si Ray yan. Sigurado ako. All my best pictures were taken by Ray.
Kaya pala ang gaganda ng mga poses mo. Number 1 photographer natin, photojournalist, Lazo. Ayan. Go ahead, Lizzie, with your
Senator, medyo hard of hearing na siya. He's hard of hearing. He cannot hear you very well.
Okay,
I have
he
to
can text. He still texts me up to now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always
Yun na
taking
lang.
kumusta. Thank you. And I'm glad that you're all well and fine. Thank you.
Okay, Lizzie.
Senator,
Go ahead.
can I have a question? Just
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there ever a chance of you rejoining politics? We need people like you very much.
You beat me on that. Tatanong ko yan eh. Go ahead, Senator. Kailangan ka daw ng
I wasn't thinking of that. I mean, in the last, I left the Senate in 2001. I tried to run again. I realized that it's a different ball game today. Iba na ang labanan ngayon.
That's right.
Earlier in the show, di ba? I was saying na iba talaga.
Right.
And for now, as of now, for the coming May elections, I can say I am really not running at all. I am not prepared. I am trying to process what's happening. I'm trying to maybe to a great extent collect my wits about what's happening. I'm trying not to be judgmental, but sometimes it's too glaring, and when something is that glaring and you're not able to see, maybe there is already a failure on the part of the citizenry when it comes to that. I think there are more deserving people who should run. Count me out for now. I say for now because it's so many years from now, I might not be able to walk a straight line even. So I'm not even looking down the road. I'm just looking at today because that's our immediate future. And that's not just our immediate future, but the consequence of which is going to be the future of our great-grandchildren as well. You know, I thank you for your support, Lizzie. I appreciate your confidence in me. It's very heartwarming, especially in this day and age of distance and coldness, you know, everything, and friends and family leaving Earth. It's not easy to process. So I think this is a time for us to reflect. It is unfortunate that it is coupled with maybe fundamental frustration because people that we are supposed to trust have betrayed us. And betrayal is some of the things, or some of, maybe you mentioned the word biblical earlier. It's easier said than done, you know, to forgive those who have betrayed us, because people you don't trust cannot betray you. But sometimes maybe we have to go through these things because, as I said, there's snakes everywhere. And it's not enough that you can dance tinikling to tinikling away the snakes, di ba? Hindi ganun yun eh. And sometimes maybe the nearer they are in proximity, the snakier they can get. You don't know. We'll never know. I mean, as I said, I don't want to be judgmental. It's basically now a product of life's experiences. And today, I think there are many qualified people who have the heart in the right place, the head in the right place, and the head on top of their shoulders. Some of them don't even want to run anymore because some are afraid. Some do not have the means because the citizenry also expects a lot of money to be poured down the drain to them. That's reality.
It sounds so hopeless. Is there no...
give us hope.
I didn't mean to sound hopeless. I meant to sound an alarm so people can wake up. Sabi nga nila, mahirap gisingin ng gising. Diba? Mahirap gisingin ng gising. At naging kaugalian na natin na iboto yung kilala natin, kilala ng kilala natin. Iboto natin yung may pakinabang tayo, magbibigay sa atin ng kontrata, yung magbibigay sa atin ng pera, magbibigay sa atin ng iba't iba pang hinihingi natin, padaling lapitan, ano pa ba, mabait. Yung mga kuminsan, yung mga katangian na hindi naman yun ang dapat katangian ng isang leader.
Di qualification.
So, hinahanap pa natin barkada, santo, ano ba hinahanap natin? Hinahanap mo yung santo, yung walang kasalanan, yung saan ba tayo maghahanap noon, di ba? I think we have to go to heaven first. And many of us want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
So how do you resolve that, Senator Nikki? Electorate, you're saying hopeless.
The resolution lies in our collective consciousness. I'll give you an example. It's locked down now, no?
Okay.
A lot of us, a lot of people say, we're all in the same boat. Sorry. We're not in the same boat. Some of us have drowned, did not have a boat at all. Some of us only have a salvavida, like a used tire, carrier ng gulong. Some of us are in a motorboat. Some of us are in a speedboat. Some of us are in a canoe. Some may be in a cruise ship. Some have our own private yachts. So we're not in the same boat. We're just in the same tsunami. We're not in the same boat.
Very sad.
Charlemagne has the good fortune of still being able to maybe re-image or rebrand his restaurant into a bistro, into something that can still survive today. I have friends who put up restaurants 2 Christmases ago, in time for the 2 Christmases ago. And the pandemic hit in March. They closed the restaurants in June. They have not even recovered the cost of the chairs and tables.
Actually, that's what's happening to us right now.
Not in the same boat, you know.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all of this, if you see 40 billion going down the drain, 20 billion here and there, 100 billion here and there, another trillion in debt and all that. And what's the discussion about? Somebody's hairdo or somebody's waistline. I mean, you know, I think there's something has to give. Sana hindi mangyari pero baka naman kailangan natin mas magutom pa. Para magising tayo. Mahirap gisingin ang gising Mabuti pa yung tulog, madaling gisingin So, why do we want this on ourselves? Right? We cannot even campaign right now because we don't even know who the candidates are going to be for what positions. Some people say, dito na lang tayo. Ano ba, what does this person stand for? Is this just a matter of giving more noodles and more rice and more sardines? Is that the ball game? You look at maybe we should talk to the accountants, the auditors. They know the standards. They know the standings of all their clients. They know how many are just writing off this and writing off that and how many are not able to collect. It doesn't mean that because they're wealthy, because they have money, they're free of all these things. No? Maybe some are, but not too many are. Very few are. But the vast majority that have a little have lost a lot. Lost a lot. I mean, schools. How many schools? I'm grateful that we still have the confidence of our parents. Diliman Preparatory School is still accepting students, for this coming school year. We're open. And I'd like to greet all our Diliman Preparatory School teachers, our officers, and our staff, our admin people. They're watching your show.
Hello. We will reserve that for the next episode at a lengthier discussion.
But many schools have closed down. I think 1,000 schools have closed down in the last 2 school years. They're not funny. And these are schools that have been painstakingly established by those owners several generations ago even. It's not funny. And what about parents who can't go to work because they have to stay home and teach their kids? And what if the person asked to teach their kids algebra really can't teach algebra? We have a lot of challenges that we have to meet, head on, right? But I think we're made of sterner stuff. We've roughly, I think it's been every 10 years we experience some kind of recession. But every 10 years or every time there's a recession, every time there's a drop somewhere and you fall into a hole, that should make you stronger and make you able to cope. I know people who've lost their jobs. They're doing banana cakes and they're making 3 times the salary they were making when they were employed. Their bosses are calling them back. Balik na kayo.
May.
Sabi nung, yung kaibigan ng anak ko, sabi niya, hindi na ako babalik dyan. I'm earning 3 times more doing my banana bread. Forget it. Di ba? Ayaw na nila. Di ba?
Right.
Kaya, that's why we're people. We're human beings. There's God-given talent.
Yeah. You mentioned about God.
If you're trained to do one thing, you can always switch to do something else. Your brain is still there.
Exactly. Senator Nikki, you mentioned about God and you mentioned about accounting. What do you say to this? Each one, every one of us, you, the high and the mighty, the lowest to the lowest, will have to account for every single thing they did and they utter. So, yun na lang yung aking hope. What do you think?
Well, as
otherwise,
I go back to what I said earlier in the program, it's a lot to do with your upbringing. It's a lot to do with what you were taught.
Raised.
What was right to you and what was wrong. It's good because we have a system by which if you say sorry or if you say I'm sorry and go to confession, etc., or something like that, you're forgiven, right? And you can turn a new leaf and you can
start again
a new life, right? But some people don't think they made a mistake. Some people will insist they're right. Some people will call maybe the kettle will call the pot black, or the pot will call the kettle black.
Exactly.
Some people will insist, and some people truly by design crave for
attention.
So at all cost, kahit anong gawin niya, basta makuha lang niya yung hindi niya kaya. Diba? Or on the other hand, there are people naman na sobrang dami na. Ang dami mo ng kotse, dami mo ng relo, dami mo ng brilyante, ang dami na. Kulang pa. Iba naman ganun eh. Kaya na sinasabi ko kahit anong rasa, it's not Filipinos or Chinese or whatever.
Yeah. Regardless of the race, everybody will have to account.
This is a human aberration. And you have to have the strength of mind and the strength of character and the strength of stomach to be able to say yes or no. That's what it is.
Nako, that's all the time we have. Napakabilis, Senator Nikki. we will again put you in the next episode kasi nga we want to zero in dun sa sa preparatory school sa UP. But for now, give us like closing speech, a 60-second there perhaps. We are over time na. Thank you so much, Senator Nikki. Go ahead.
Thank you, Charlemagne and Lolly, for inviting me. I'd like to thank all of those who tuned in on such short notice. I'm not a techie.
Sorry.
I'd also like to express my sincerest condolences and sympathies to friends, family, and those who I don't even know. You just read about and hear about, who have lost their lives due to this COVID-19. Those who have not been able to gather maybe the strength under the circumstances. I hope that you gain your strength soon. I wish that it's not a wish. We have to do something about it. Wishing and praying is not enough. We have to do something solid and something concrete. And accountability, responsibility has to be clearly pinpointed at the soonest possible time. We might have to build new jails. Maybe they have to be new jails. Maybe also our justice system would have to be less politicized and more geared towards rendering justice where justice is due.
Right.
And it is with confidence that I think the people will wake up before May to put an end to what should be ended and to hit a new beginning and start what has to be started.
Okay.
This is a cycle. It's not a consistent upward or downward trend. And the sooner we arrest the seeming plummeting of the economy, of our health, of education, and of the system that we hold so dearly, Yes.
Okay.
Nakikita nila kami.
The better for the next generation. We're here
Okay.
just as caretakers, and we're making a mess.
Amen.
So I hope
All
that
right.
we individually do what we can.
Yeah,
And
we
more
have to
power
make an
to all
effort.
of us. More power.
Thank you so much, Senator Nikki. This is not the last. We'll go next episode for the preparatory NUP Diliman, the school that you have now, because people need to know what it is. Thank you so much. God bless, Senator Nikki. God
Thank you,
bless all.
everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Senator Nikki.
Okay.
I have so many
Okay, until
questions
next time.
and comments. Pero
Over
next week
time.
na lang.
Okay. Thank you,
Give your phone
Charlemagne.
number so we can order food from you.
Ayan.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nikki.
All right.
Ray,
God
ingat,
bless.
Ray.
Bye.
Salamat, Ray.
Ray and Lizzie.
Salamat, Lizzie. Thank you.
Lizzie.
Salamat.
Thank you, Lizzie. Ray.
Ray, palakas ka.
All right. Thank you sa ating naging kaagapay. Siyempre, Engineer Fred Dalamala, Rashid, and Jello. God bless everyone. Bye.
Usapang Chinoy with Miss Lolly Acosta and Charlemagne Lim.